this every time we play a blues. Every time we play a blues, I say this, and it's like, the blues is, the problem with blues is that it's too much fun, and you can just go on and on and on and on and on. Folks, how you doing? My name's Nick Jennison. It's the Monday Guitar Show. Welcome on board. We're doing the thing that we do on Mondays. We just hang out and talk about the guitar with the objective, as usual, of making you, dear viewer, a slightly better guitar player when you leave us than you were when you arrived. And today, we're answering quite a sticky question, quite a challenging question, which is, well, in the title, it says how to make every note count. But what it really is the question of, why does it sound great when I hear somebody else play the collection of notes I'm playing, maybe a song, a solo, a series of licks, maybe you've learned your favourite Jimmy Page solo, your favourite Paul Gilbert solo, or whoever, and it sounds great when they play, but when you play it, it just doesn't sound quite as it. It's quite hard to put your finger on, let's say. It's a tough thing to really pin down. We're going to try and answer that question today, and we're going to see if we can give you some tools to basically make everything you play sound a little better. In other words, to make every note count. So, without further ado, let's get into the comments. We're going to say some hellos. We're going to get into the meat of the stream as quickly as we can. But before we do, I want to remind you guys, if you didn't know already, which you may already have known, who knows, if you're going to be at Guitar Summit this coming weekend, if you're going to be at Guitar Summit, we'll be at Guitar Summit, right? I'll be there with LickLibrary. I will also be there with my back, this guitar that I'm holding right here. And this guitar has had a small, but to me, very meaningful upgrade in the form of this Maybach custom shop truss rod cover. I need to get this camera properly sharp as a dart in focus to show you. That's so much better. Now check it out, right? It's a little thing, but I went to visit the Maybach custom shop in Wuppertal in Germany. I'm sure I'm not pronouncing that right. And they gave me this little truss rod cover. It was just a plain black one before. This is where it's at. I love it to death, right? It's just such a cool little thing. So I'll be performing with Maybach. I'll be giving a clinic where we'll be talking about all sorts of interesting guitar playing things, but I'll also be kicking around the show for the whole weekend. If you are there, please, please, please come and say hello. We'd love to take a picture. We'd love to hang out. Love to meet some of you guys in person if we haven't done so already. So, on to the comments. First things first, Marcine, our first member through the door, says, hello guys. PJ is also here, who thinks we should have a session dedicated to the music of The Shags, Frank Zappa's #2. Appreciation Society coming your way soon. Do love a bit of Zappa. I'm probably not the most qualified to speak on Zappa's playing or Zappa's music, and I'm also enough of a fan to know that you really need to know your stuff to talk about Zappa, and I don't think I'm that guy. But I'd be very keen to see it. So maybe if we have someone on our staff who is a big Zappa nut, maybe we'll get them on board and do a stream on that. That's a good idea. Larry Warren is here. Great to see you. Sacred Godslayers in the house. Kim is here, in case you're wondering. Kim's also going to be at Guitar Summit, so come and say hello. We'd love to see you. Fog Cornish is here. Helmet Strap is in the house. Kate Strange is here. Mal Riley's tuning in. Response Audio. Timothy Appling. Crankatom. Franz is here. Steve Luth, or Louth, who I'm going to hedge my bets on this one, Steve. It's great to see you. Thanks for coming on board. Dreams is here. Block 18 is here. Bill is tuning in. Ampman50, hello to all. Hello to all indeed. Sam Judy Music's here. Haven't seen you in a while, Sam, I don't think, but it's great to have you back. If you've been here the whole time, I apologise. Mark McNish is here. Thomas Ross, the Thomas Ross, is tuning in. Almost GFX is in the house. Catmandu 1962 is here playing. Ooh, we got some guitars. We want to know what guitar you're playing, by the way. I'm playing the Maybach Convair because, of course, I am. It's still my favourite. Got all these lovely PRS. I love playing those too. Still my favourite. Anyway, I beg pardon. So yes, Catmandu is playing his Ibanez from last week. Super cool. Peter Montague is tuning in, playing a PRS Custom 24 SE. Those SE guitars, man, they're just terrifyingly good for the money. I've got one kicking around over here. I took it on tour with me. This is the most affordable PRS that PRS make. It is an SE-CE24. It's buttons. It's like 400 quid. Less than 400 quid. And I'll tell you what, it pulled me out of the dirt one night when my Core CE from 2006 let me down. I came off stage. I think I told you about this last week. I came off stage and I came off an ego riser, and my singer Brian had his arms outstretched doing the Cristo Redentor pose, and I hit him in the hand with the front of my headstock, and his hand was fine, but my strings exploded, all of them. It was crazy. I had like 2 strings left. So I played the green guitar for the whole night. It was killer. Just tremendous. Love him. Crank Tom's also playing a PRS SE, Tremonti SE. Let us know if this is one of the more modern ones or one of the originals, because my friend John had one of the originals. Very cool guitar, but impossibly light, like way too light. Cool though, very cool guitar. He's playing no guitar because his finger hurts due to practicing together with my friend Toon. Is that Toon in the sense that I'm from, or somebody else? Even still, always good to see you practicing. Nick Harrison is in the house. Have I been practicing? Always, mate. Always. Nick is responsible for a great deal of my practice habits. Love a bit of that. My friend, Chadwick Love Prod. This is Mr. Andy Keeley. He's tuning in. Great to see you, man. Former custodian of one of my first guitars. Love a bit of that. Good pal, going way, way, way back. Raphael or Raphael is in the house. Marcin is here. He's playing Gibson SG because the scale is shorter. Oh, that's interesting. He's playing Gibson SG. The scale is an 1/8 inch shorter than the short scale according to his measurements. That is fascinating, right? Because that's how this guitar came to be. We're talking about guitars an awful lot, but we are here to talk about guitars. This is the McCarthy 594. And in case you guys didn't know, the 594 part comes from the distance between the bridge and the nut, aka the scale length, which is 24.594 inches. So not the usual 24 3/4 that we see on Gibson guitars. This was based upon Paul's measurements of a load of really great 60s and 50s Gibsons. The really good ones, apparently a lot of them all had this 24.594 inch scale length. So that's where this guitar was born. And I got to tell you, there's something magic in this guitar. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So maybe that's it, man. Maybe you've just got a happy accident like the ones that birthed that guitar. Marcin is tuning in. Great to see you. Any guitar exhibitions in Poland? Oh, the 2 guitar exhibitions in Poland. I'd love to go. Maybe I can work that out around some touring. So I'd love to come to tour in Poland as well. Very cool. Crank and Tom would love to come to the summit, but it's not around the corner. Germany's a big place, man, and you travel a lot. So, hey. Anyway, our Dreams is here. See you on Friday. Right, come and find me. Come and say hello. I'd love to see you. Love to see you. Gerald Carson tuning in. My friend Pete Tunner, the master of all things Mesa Boogie, right? Just a guy with so many great amps. Wonderful player. Great to have you. David Austin Nix is still dreaming of a PRS. Hey man, you know, get an SE, they're great. They're great. I know, it's still a big chunk of change. Who else do we have? Tom Ace is here. Miguel is tuning in. Thomas Ross has got his PRS SE. Lots of PRS love today. Timothy Appling's playing an SG Supreme. Very cool. And Crackaton has got his hardtail Tremonti with bird inlays and neck binding. Very, very cool. Stock pickups. Oh, you made the stock pickup splittable. Now that is, I beg your pardon. That's a very interesting thing. Did you install a wire? I'm guessing. Let us know in the comments how you did that, because I've got some 2 conductor pickups that I love that I'd like to make into 4 conductors, because I've got to have a coil split personally. So anyway, enough talk. I jest. It's going to be a lot of talk. Now, on to the central conceit of today's stream, which is making every note count. Now, this is a big topic, but we defined this in the intro, but for anybody who might have missed it, the central part of this is we're asking the question why it is that some players, when you play their stuff, it just doesn't sound the same. So say you've learned the solo from Comfortably Numb, and then you try and play it and you go, well, why doesn't it sound like David Gilmour? Well, the obvious reason is that you're not David Gilmour, but the next question, and neither am I, by the way, just throwing that out there, and neither is anybody apart from David Gilmour. David, if you're watching this, I'm sorry if we've given you an existential crisis. You are David Gilmour, but the rest of us were not. I don't think he's watching. It's fine. Anyway, the question is, why doesn't it sound like David Gilmour when I play David Gilmour songs? Why doesn't it sound like Mark Knopfler when I play Mark Knopfler songs? Insert favorite guitar player here. So, I think what this boils down to, and this is something I see an awful lot with my students, I see it an awful lot with guitar playing friends who are maybe at that intermediate level, a lot of it is a failure to make every note count. Now, we're going to get into what that means. So, first of all, let me demonstrate to you what I mean by making every note count by beginning with a demonstration of not making every note count. See how many little foibles and little mistakes you can spot here. Now, I'm not talking about playing wrong notes. I'll play wrong notes in both examples because I'm a human person and human people play wrong notes. Although, I'm saying that, and there's lots of players who seem to never, I don't know. Anyway, so here we go. This is an example of not making each note count. Here's our blues backing track. It's okay. It's a bit, yeah. Let's do the same sort of thing, but this time we'll make every note count. I'll go to the same part of the track to keep it fair. Now, a little bit of shred in there, a bit of inappropriate shred, because I wanted to demonstrate that this is not a question of playing fast or playing slow. It's not a question of playing particular notes. It's not a question of playing hard or playing soft or anything like that. This is a question of what is going on between your ears when you're playing the guitar. So we're going to begin with the most important thing when it comes to making notes count, which is your intentionality. Intentionality. Here's a great one. Sounding like a producer asked you to play blues as if it was a pain stripper. I love a bit of that. Now, okay, we've got some comments in night and day. I hope so. That's the purpose of the demonstration. I like that. So we're going to get into some intentionality ideas here. So first thing with intentionality is this is the most important question you must ask yourself every time you play something is, do you know as you're playing the note, even before you're playing the note, but more importantly, as you're playing the note, do you have a clear idea of what you want that note to sound like? If we took away the guitar, and instead of having the guitar, we plugged the cable directly into your brain, and you were able to produce the sound of the guitar with just your brain, how good would that note sound? Would you have a really clear idea of the sound that you want to produce with that note? If you don't, you are doomed from the outset. So one thing I'll say about this is one way to make every note count is don't host a live stream, because you have to play stuff and also watch cameras and also watch comments. So there's a lot of times where I'm playing and maybe every note doesn't count, but when I'm on and when I'm really in the zone, it can be fun. You'll often see this when I'm doing these jams and the cameras don't switch because I'm just in it. Whereas if I'm playing with the cameras the whole time, it usually means I'm distracted. So this is one of those things. So a clear mental image of how you want the note to sound. And we're going to do a little thought experiment here and a little guitar experiment. So if you don't have your guitars already, grab your guitars. We're going to play some simple stuff. Now, I'm going to challenge you to play a handful of very easy notes. The notes in question are going to be an E note and a B note. Only these notes. The E note, 9th fret on the G string. The B note, 9th fret on the D string. You can approach these notes any way you want. You can slide in, you can slide out, you can bend them, you can chirp them, you can pinch harmonic, you can do whatever you like. Vibrato's cool. All I want from you is, as we play over this backing track, I want you to develop in your mind a really super clear image of how you want this note to sound. Now, a good way to do this before we play is to first envisage a really fantastic note. So think about a note that you've heard someone play that is beautiful, just an incredible note, just the note. Now, I want some comments from below of folks who, I want to know what you think the note is. Give me an example of the note, a really beautifully played note from maybe one of your favorite songs. So I'm going to give you the example of one of the solos from, one of the notes in the solo from Green Tinted 60s Mind by Paul Gilbert. Now, we think of Paul Gilbert as playing lots of notes, but Paul is exceptionally good at playing beautiful notes too, as exemplified by this one particular note. I don't know if I'm going to be able to carry it off, I'll try my best, but the note in question is at the top end of this line where he plays. Now, I didn't get it there. Where is it? There it is. And this note just howls. There it is. It has the perfect amount of vibrato, the perfect amount of harmonic. It is a gorgeous note. Now, there are lots of notes out there you might think of if you're still in the virtuoso space. You may think about maybe For the Love of God, maybe this. That's a beautiful note. You call it, right? Whatever your beautiful note is. Got some great comments. We've got Tears for Fears. Love a bit of that. Oh, yeah, Billy Gibbons. Give Me All Your Love and Intro. Super cool. Dimebag Darrell, Cowboys from Hell. Every note in the descending chromatic line phase, for sure. It doesn't have to be single notes. Those notes all sound killer. Now, ask yourself what you like about those notes. Ask yourself what it is. Is it the choice? I don't think it is. It's usually something in the execution. It's something in the sound. It's something in the spirit of the notes that we love. Don't Stop Believing. What a great shout. Love a bit of that, right? Really great shout. So beautiful sounding notes. This is kind of what we're looking for here. So with our two notes that we chose, right, with our E and our B, we're going to play just these notes. And we're going to play it over our blues backing track. The blues backing track is in the key of E. Oh, here's another really great shout. Love a bit of this. Cliffs of Dover, the first note. Yeah, absolutely that. Ah, oh, just to die for, right? With a little bit of Gary Moore kind of behind the note. So cool, right? Love a bit of this. Love a bit of this. Now, we've got some great comments in. We can't go through them all, but they're fantastic. So we're playing in the key of E. You've got E notes, you've got B notes. We're going to play single notes. And what I'd like to know from you is I'd like you to try and have a mental image of how you want each of these notes to sound. First thing we'll do is we're going to play without visualizing the notes, right? And I'm going to play and I'll give you a choice too. Single notes, nice long sustained ones. We're going to sound like this. No real image of how I want the note to sound. Vibrato is switched on like a switch. That was the end of it because I felt like the end. Here's a B. A little bit of a weird tail off. I'm going to go again. Maybe I'll come early. Don't really know what I'm doing with the vibrato. I'm doing something. And then I'll go like this. I'll go. Got a squeak on the end. Rubbish. Right now, intentionality. I'd like you to do the same. Take a second, play an E, play a B, visualize in your mind how you want it to sound, and see if you can commit to that. Imagine the sound as vividly as you can as you're playing the note. Not before you play it, as you play it. Think about it like having a great conversation. You don't think about what you're going to say before you say it, you think about it as you're saying it. I think. Anyway, maybe that's just me. Who knows? So let's do it again with some attention. Now, just to prove that it's not just all these big slidey in notes, let's do a little gentle one. Lovely. A little whisper. Very sweet. Okay, let's do it again with some big. Nice, like that. Let's do another big one down here. I'm gonna play. Din. quite stick the landing, but that's all right, that's fine. You take a turn. Again, big intentionality we're looking for here. A very clear mind image of the notes. This is what we want. Let me know in the comments after this experiment, do you feel like these notes are better for being super intentional? Because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move on to some phrases. And we'll play this in E minor pentatonic. Just E minor pentatonic. The first chord is A minor. It's got a C in it, but we're not going to play it because we're taking away the burden of note choices, just pentatonic scales. Okay, same thing, but this time with intentionality on phrases. Have a little cheat there. You take a turn. Give me a phrase. I want the clearest of mental images while you're playing it. While you're playing it. So not before, while you're playing, I want you to really connect with those notes and really imagine in the most vivid way how it's going to sound. I'm going to take a turn. Now, I want to know from you, how did your experiments in intentionality go? Intentionality go. Here is a cool one from Sam Jr., a question or a comment. And we'll answer this one now rather than waiting. So here's one. He says, I'm curious, are we doing this with just simple effects and try and play what we hear in our head, or should we be instigating and inserting certain effects to get what we hear? I'm guessing by effects what you mean is like technique. So certain effects as in like vibrato, as in you can use effects pedals, you can use distortion, anything in the guitar system. Anything that makes a noise is part of the note that you hear in your head, right? It's what is the sound that you hear? And are we really clear in what it is that we want to hear? Now here's something that I do want to, I've said here a lot, here's something that I do want to highlight with this is not something that should be premeditated. You shouldn't be thinking ahead of time, hey, I'm going to play this note in 4 bars time and it's going to scream. You should be thinking immediately in the moment. Immediately in the moment, I'm playing a note. What will this note sound like? It's not a premeditated thing. You develop this instinct picture of, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this thing. And there it goes. It's quite a hard thing to describe, but it's quite an easy thing for you to experience, which is why we do these experiments together, rather than me just saying, hey, be intentional and trying to describe it to you. Now, this is a little like the practice of visualization, which is something that has been proven to have exceptionally positive results in competitive athletes and folks who compete in skill-dependent sports and games. Say, for example, shooting a basketball, the idea of visualizing yourself succeeding with this basketball free throw will improve your chances of actually succeeding. Now, obviously, this needs to be combined with practice, but there is actually some research suggesting that practice just mentally, without actually touching the instrument, can produce similarly positive results to actual physical practice. And I think a big part of this is developing this intentionality, developing the awareness. This is just my conjecture here, by the way. Developing this awareness and this sense of what is it that I'm trying to achieve with this instrument. And everything you play being led by that thought, this idea of what am I actually trying to do here? Am I trying to produce a note that sounds this way, that way, the other way, etc.? We're going to move on to another thing next. Another reason why you may not be sounding as good as you could, but it all ties to this central point of intentionality. Intentionality, being super intentional with what it is you're trying to say with your instrument. Now, here's another point. But before we do, I want to take a quick second and remind you that today's stream has been brought to you by our friends at LickLibrary. licklibrary.com. Don't forget, because we're deep in this, right? We don't want to break our concentration. But if you go to licklibrary.com, you will have access to more lessons than you possibly know what to do with. But that's okay, because we also have guided learning paths and one-to-one support to tell you and help you find which lessons you should be working on. So we're not just giving you 100,000 lessons and giving you a pat on the behind and going best of luck with that. We'll help you. We'll help you choose the right ones for you. It's a good time. Go to licklibrary.com. If you're not already a member, you should consider signing up. There's some good stuff in there. We're releasing new lessons every week. If you're not following us on socials, go to licklibrary.com. Go to Instagram. Follow us on there, @licklibrary. Go to Facebook. Give us a whatever it is on Facebook these days. We'll let you know when we're releasing new lessons. Anyway, on with the show. So returning to attentiveness for a moment, intentionality about your playing and making it something that you're doing in the moment. Here is something that I see folks doing all the time, which drives me a little bit up the wall because I recognize it in my own playing sometimes when I'm distracted, and I also recognize it in the playing of others. And it's one of those key things that is, I think the big boys and big girls don't do this, but us mere mortals do, and we need to keep an eye on it, which is not giving up on the note until the note is finished. I'll say that again. Not giving up on the note until the note is finished. Do not bail mentally on the note once you've played it. Here is an analogy. The analogy is you're having a conversation with someone and you're struck by this feeling that you get sometimes with someone when you're conversing with them, and you get the impression that they're not listening to what you're saying. They're just taking the gaps in their speech to think about what they're going to say next. So they're not really paying attention to what you're saying. They're just concocting the next thing that they're going to say. We've all experienced that, right? All experienced that. Now, we can be guilty of playing in this manner. We can be guilty of playing in such a way that we play in such a way that we're not really giving attention to every note that we play. Does this make sense? Hopefully it does. Now, let's just take a quick second and I'll show you what that means. So if I play along with my backing track once again, we're in the key of E minor. I'm going to see if I can bail on some notes, right? Watch this. So if I'm playing and I get a little distracted, notice these notes are starting strong. That was a bad one, but you get the gist. There's like a weird thing going on here where the notes sound fine at their onset, but something weird happens at the end of them. We've all heard that before. It normally manifests itself in this interesting little pattern where people will play a note and then they'll be fingering and almost sounding the next note before it's time to play it. It's really weird. It's a strange thing, right? It's a strange thing. Now, this is, to my mind at least, the only way I can think about it is it's a symptom of giving up on the note before you're ready, before you're finished with the note. You're not finished using it, but you're mentally checked out on that note. You've started the note and then you're going, ooh, on to the next thing. And that note's just hanging out in space going, but Nick, we're not finished sounding. I'm still playing. How do you want me to end? And it's like, I don't know, just whatever happens. The great players that we all admire absolutely do not do this, right? Absolutely do not do this. Full commitment to each note means full commitment for the full duration of the note. And if you're not sure what to do with a note, stop the note. Let there be silence. Silence is fine. Silence is okay. If you don't like silence, do some Jimi Hendrix noises. That's okay. Dive for the whammy bar, whatever, right? If you need to fill that silence, you fill that silence. So here's a great observation from Dreams saying it sounds like you're searching for the notes, like insecure playing. It's exactly what it is, right? It's almost like you're embarrassed of the note you just played. You played it and then you go, ooh, no, I don't like that note. I'm not so sure about that. If that's how you feel, stop the note. Right? Let me give you an example of what happens when we go from this kind of not committing to the note to fully committing to each note. Some of the symptoms you'll notice is, it's one of my personal favorites, is the vibrato gets bad. Right? The vibrato either gets bad or it stops. So people will do this. They'll start out with this big, bold, lovely vibrato, and then it'll just kind of fade to nothing. Or if they're bending a note, it'll just kind of fall off. Weird noises will appear. Now, you may be looking at this and thinking these are technique issues. They can be, but what they really are is issues of intention. We are not committing to the note for its full duration and its sound. We're seeing it as a number on a piece of tab and going play 9 on 3 now and expecting a result like pressing a button. It's not how the guitar works. The guitar is not like pressing a button. The guitar is much more complex than that in terms of the sounds it can produce. So let me show you a demonstration. Let's go from not fully committing to a note. I'll make the starts of the notes good, but then I'll kind of like let them go, ugh. And then I will, this one from Sean Atkinson. As a teacher, I appreciate how hard it is to demonstrate bad playing. Do you know, it's a really interesting one. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Somebody once pointed out that one of the most impressive feats of acting of the late 20th century was Matt LeBlanc in Friends, who had to play an actor who was bad at acting. And it's like, it's brilliant. Absolutely wonderful. Same thing, right? Same thing. It requires some concentration, but I'll try my best. So we're going to start with committing to the start of the note, but then like letting our eye wander as the note holds its duration. This also applies to phrases and runs, by the way, and I'll do that too, and then I'll start to tidy that up by focusing my attention on each of the notes. Then I'll invite you to do the same. Here we go. Okay. Okay, let's commit to the full note, because they all started well, or most of them started well. Let's commit to the full length. Now, some times when this can crop up. It often crops up when we're unsure of ourselves, when we're not sure of what it is we're supposed to be playing. Now, here is an interesting one, right? Here's an interesting one where we see this a lot in Larry Warren with a great observation saying rushing ahead or bending almost nervously, for sure, right? For sure. So here's some place where it crops up. It crops up when we're not sure of ourselves. If we're not sure of, first of all, the notes we're wanting to play, but secondly, if we're not sure about how we want those notes to sound. The same goes for phrases. If we don't have a clear image of what the phrase is supposed to sound like, we can't really be expected to fully commit to reproducing that sound. Because what sound? Your hands have been given no instructions. They've been given the instruction of play 9 now, and that's what they'll do. But if you give them the instruction of produce this sound and hold it like this and then let it go, I do this a lot of times when I'm producing people. I'll be making these grand conductor-style gestures. I'm not a conductor. I don't know the first thing about conducting. I don't even own a baton, but I've got several reed diffusers that might do the trick, because studios need to smell nice. Anyway, you've got a mental image of how the studio smells now. It smells like sandalwood. It's lovely. Anyway, so I digress. The point with this is it comes up when we're not sure of ourselves, but this can also happen when we start to think about doing something cool. Right, when we go, ooh, you have the watch this moment with yourself. Watch this with yourself. Here's one from Mal Riley saying, do you always end every phrase with a vibrato and not just pure notes? Absolutely not. Oftentimes, I'll just let notes hang in the air. I quite like that. And it's something Peter Green did a great deal of. He wasn't afraid just to let a note sit. It's quite a challenging thing to do because guitar players reflexively vibrate, but your vibrato should absolutely be intentional. The thing with it is I really like vibrato, so I tend to hear vibrato more often than I don't. But no, sometimes I'll let them hang. Some of the lessons we've done on John Sykes, for example, have a lot of that going on. Anyway, because John Sykes is another player who would just let notes hang in the air nice and clean and then apply that beautiful silky vibrato after the fact. So anyway, the watch this moment. So famous last words, watch this, right? People have speculated for decades how long, like how many people's famous last words, or how many people's last words have been, hey, watch this, as they proceed to, watch this, I bet I can jump over this wood chipper. Don't do it, don't do it. Watch this, I bet I can run through this traffic. Like, please don't do that. You kind of get where I'm going with this, right? So anyway, I digress. The watch this moment can distract us from the intentionality of the phrase, and one place where it comes up a lot for me, personally, is when I'm trying to hit changes. When I'm trying to hit changes. So, there are changes in this track, which is why I selected it. Now, if I try my absolute level best, if my sole priority is nailing these changes, I might be able to do it, but I might lose sight of the beauty of the notes that I'm playing. Now, the best players at this absolutely do not do this, right? All of the greats who are fabulous at playing over changes, it's a given that everything they play has full intention and full intentionality, and they own every single note. It's given. They don't even think about it, right? You watch Tom Quayle play over this, fabulous. Alex Hutchings play over this sort of stuff. Every note, super intentional. Now, let me show you what it's like when I focus too much on the let's do something cool and watch as I become distracted before I do the cool thing, right? Check it out. Here we go. When I got back into the zone there, it sounded great. Then I'm hitting a note because it's in the chord, but I didn't have a clear mental image of what the note was actually going to sound like. I just reached for the note and went, well, that's in the chord, that'll do. I don't know how to dismount it. Now the same thing can happen when we are doing longer passages. Everything we're saying about notes here can also extrapolate to phrases. So if I start doing something cool, oftentimes I won't stick the landing if I'm distracted because I'm not fully in the zone of following this stuff. So if I go like this, that's cool, I know I want to dismount on that note. Did you notice that this little bit around here got a bit scrappy? Right, I'll do it again. Now I started thinking about this note before I'd finished with these, and the run just kind of went to pot. I'll do it again. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't brilliant. Now that time, nailed it, but then when I got to here, I had this sort of vestigial pentatonic passage where I wasn't really focused on that. I was thinking about this. I was thinking ahead, and these notes just sort of appeared. And they didn't sound as good as all of this stuff. Why? Because I was distracted by the shiny light on the hill, which is this one up here. I'm like, ooh, that's a cool note. I'm going to hit that. That'll be good. And what happened? The stuff that I was currently playing suffered, right? When you stop being present with the note you are playing at that very moment, those notes will suffer every single time. I promise you. Now, how important is this? Your mileage may vary. If you're singing and playing and you're strumming G, C add 9, D, E minor, maybe it doesn't matter if they're the greatest G, C, D, and E minor that's ever been played ever. Your attention is on delivering your singing. Same is true if you're performing, right? If you're like, you know, you're playing this. First of all, you wouldn't be playing on the neck pickup, but also you get the gist. You're playing away on that and you're going chugga, 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 chugga. It doesn't really matter if those chugs are the greatest chugs ever. You can do this and you can point and you can throw the guitar behind your back and throw it over your head and whatever it is that you're doing. Because at that point, your objective is not to sound the absolute greatest, if that makes sense. Yes, you want to sound good, but it's not our top priority. Our top priority, when it's time to sound the greatest, well, we know when that is. It's when it's our time to shine. Now, you should be playing everything well. You should be playing everything and having it sound nice, but I'm giving you little outs here where sometimes your attention may be somewhere else, right? An attractive member of the same or opposite sex, or whatever you're into, a really cute dog comes across. We've got several cute dogs in this little studio complex. They always distract me. 2 black Labradors, in fact, and they're both gorgeous. I'm distracted by dogs even just thinking about it. They're not even here. They've gone home. But I'm thinking about the dog. I've become distracted even in our conversation. But you get the gist of this, right? If you are not present in the notes, expect the notes to suffer. Deal with that as you will. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. Now, one last thing that we're going to talk about with this. We talked about intentionality. We talked about being present all the way through the note and committing to the end of the note, committing to its duration, committing to its vibrato, all this stuff. Here's another, right? How often do you practice playing good sounding notes? Now, this is a strange thing to say because oftentimes when we practice with the goal of skilling up our guitar. We want to improve our guitar skill. We want to learn stuff. We want to add more things to our collection. But in reality, one thing that's often missed is the component of making everything that we currently do as good as it can be, and being as in everything we play as good, as much as we can be, making it sound as good as we can as a routine part of our practice. Because as we all know, with guitar, as with people say you are what you eat, with guitar, you are what you practice, and you are how you practice. And if you practice with distraction and without intentionality, and you just sit and doodle on the sofa, that's fine. It's worked for a lot of players. But if you make the central tenet of your practice that you want everything to sound good, and everything you play should sound nice, and you don't move on, you do not pass go, you do not collect 200 BPM until it sounds nice, you will be better at playing notes that sound nice. Here's a great one from Marcin, saying the key is to record yourself often. It absolutely is. Record yourself. I do it every week, right? Because I record, these shows get recorded, and I watch the intros, and I watch the outros, and I make notes of what I can improve on. Oftentimes it's being present, but these streams are a great test for me because I don't have the luxury of being 100% present just in the way that I'm playing, because I also have to run a stream. I'm usually doing these solo, which I am today, and producing a live stream requires a lot of mental energy, as does playing. So I'm not making excuses for myself. It's actually a good thing for me because it gives me practice at snapping in and out of intentionality and being able to turn my attention somewhere else and quickly return it to the guitar. believe me, as a singer, this is something that's really, really important, because oftentimes, if I'm singing, my whole intention is on the vocal, because the vocal is the song, right? I'm thinking about the guitar, but my attention is almost entirely on the vocal. But then when it's time to switch from vocal to solo, I have to quickly switch modes and turn my attention really rapidly to the instrument and go, okay, now it's time to speak on the instrument. It's a challenging thing to do. But yes, recording yourself, Marcin, that's absolutely an important thing to do. Now, let me give you an example of practicing good sounding notes versus not practicing good sounding notes. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to use this backing track as a medium for practicing my G major scale, because this track largely maps to the G major scale. I'm going to play it like this. I'm going to play it. I'll rob myself of the delay, because as much fun as delay is, it's not always the answer. Now, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to turn off the distortion, because a key part of sounding good, air quotes, is your ability to sound good through the type of sound that you want to play through. And practicing clean will result in your ability to play things with a clean sound that sound very nice. If that's something you want to do, you should be able to do that. You should practice that. But if you want to play well through a distortion sound, you should practice through the distortion sound and practice sounding good through your distortion sound, if that makes sense. Look at that truss rod cover. Gorgeous. Reminder, I'll be at Guitar Summit with these guys this weekend. It's going to be fun. Anyway, come to my clinic. I'll be hosting a clinic. It'll be good. It'll be very lonely if nobody's there, so I hope you guys come. Anyway, don't come all the way to Mannheim just for that, but if you're going to be there, I'd love to see you. Anyway, G major through distortion, first of all with little care for how good the notes sound, just am I doing them, and then we'll put some attention into the notes. Here we go. Am I getting the notes? Yes, faster. Okay, it's fine, but this time, let me turn my attention to playing these as, that make them sound as good as I can. So, make each one count. I'm gonna play this. And it's not as simple as just chirp these notes, don't chirp these notes, vibrato these notes, don't vibrate other notes, etc. But already this sounds better, faster. Are they joined up? I'm losing it there. Let's get a clear image. Sounds better. Now, that is a marginal difference in terms of the result when it comes to playing a scale, but the attention focus is worlds apart. Here the intentional focus is one of throwing a C sharp in that scale too, says Nick Harrison. Cool, okay. Lots of fun. I played a B flat there for some reason as well. I'm so used to just chromaticking on the top strings. I like the way it sounds, so it's a bad habit. It's a cool habit, but it's a habit all the same. Anyway, the point with this is the more I'm focused on just making notes sound cool and sound good, the better it sounds. And more importantly, the more I'm in the habit of just playing things that sound good. So when I pick up something and just play, even if I'm distracted, it sounds likely better than if it's undistracted. To prove this to you, what I'm going to do is, because I've done a lot of time playing this, I'm going to deliberately play distracted. But then I'm going to play distracted and try and have it sound good. And the way I'll do this is by reading the file names of some videos that I've recently uploaded that I can see on my Google Drive. They're not very interesting file names, they're videos. But I'll try and read them out for you all the same. And you'll see that hopefully we can still play some notes that sound cool even when I'm distracted, because I have practiced playing good sounding notes. Let's see if this works. Wish me luck. Okay, here we go. And then we'll answer questions. So delay is on. Playing distracted. If I tabbed that, there'd be nothing wrong with it. It could sound like this. Sounds fine. It's nothing wrong with the notes. It's just the execution. Now, let's try and play some good sounding notes while I read you some file names. Okay, ACAM 0127.mp4, ACAM 0125.mp4, BCAM 0931.mp4, YT thumbnail, Mun Guitar Show _. Not sure what to do. You get the gist, right? So here's the thing. Okay, was that my finest work? Probably not, but it was entertaining all the same, right? It was entertaining for me. Now, this is not just about being able to split your attention and being able to split your attentional focus. It's about demonstrating that if you commit to practicing good sounding notes and you're intentional in your practice, on those occasions where you can't be intentional because something is distracting you, the amp stack is falling over, etc. It's good notes will come out because that's what your hands know how to do. They know how to play good notes. Here's a cool comment from Nick Jennison saying that multitasking is exposing loads of process bottlenecks. It's so hard. Absolutely it's hard, right? Let me friggin' tell you. But the point with this is, were those the most artistically meritful phrases ever? No, but the notes sounded pretty good because I'm in the habit of playing notes that I like the sound of. Anyway, I'm sure you have questions. We're going to answer as many of them as we can. We've got 5 minutes left, so let's go. We're going to dig through the comments, going to see which questions I really, really liked. I've starred as many of them as I can, but I'm going to find some real good ones. Really, really, really good ones. Where is my stars? I've lost this. Apparently we've lost the ability to star comments here. So if you have questions, let me know down below. If you ain't got any, that's absolutely fine. That's a non-issue, but we'll try and get as many through as we possibly can. Here's one from Cranker Tom saying, where do I find the backing track? The backing track is available on LickLibrary.com. It's a slow blues in E minor. I like that. Here's a good observation from my friend Nick, saying the notes were stronger than the reading of the file names. You probably subconsciously prioritized that. I think I consciously prioritized that, mate, because it's going to live on the internet forever. And I thought, well, if people look at this and think, well, that guy reads like a moron, I've got no problem with that. But if they look and say he plays like a moron, got more of a problem with that. Both could be true. Who knows? I think it's conscious, but I think you're absolutely right. I think there was definitely some subconscious prioritization there. And also, I play more than I read file names aloud. So maybe I'm more practiced at that. But it is a challenging thing to do. Here's one from Colin O'Hare saying live it has to be entertaining as well with regards a split attentional focus when it comes to playing live. Hard agree. When you're playing live, you have to engage. You can't just stand there like a bottle of milk unless, or a packet of tea, as some people like to say. Stand there like a packet of tea. I don't know where it comes from. Cool phrase. I'm having it. Nina says that a lot. It was let's stand there like a packet of tea. Let's stand there like a carton of milk. Anyway. You can't just stand there and stare at your shoes unless it's an appropriate thing to do for the style of music that you're playing. In most scenarios where we're playing blues, rock, soul, funk, function gigs, disco, metal, you want a little bit of engagement with the audience. You want to be, at the very least, physically engaged in the music you're playing and trying to foster a connection between yourself and the audience. And part of that comes from being physically entertaining, and you have to be able to kind of hold both in your mind. Now, there are times when you want to prioritize the physicality of your performance and times when you want to prioritize the musicality of your performance. where that is in the song. For us metal schlubs, it's usually the solo. That's usually where, or the really hard bits, that's where we'll maybe just plant a foot on the monitor and go to Frown Town and play all of the notes, and then we'll come off and rock out again for the rhythms under the chorus. So yes, hard agree. It's definitely a question of prioritization. A very good comment though. We like that a lot. Here's a cool one from Vil S saying PRS SE Custom 22 versus PRS SE CE 24. For me, that's an easy question. That is an easy question. Always the Custom 22, because for me, 22 frets are where it's at, right? I'm a 22 fret guy, even though I play lots of notes, always 22 frets, because I play on the neck pickup a lot, as I'm sure you guys know. I like the sound of a neck pickup. I especially like the sound of a hoopy scoopy neck pickup. Thanks, Paul Reed Smith. This lovely clonky Les Pauly thing. And a big part of that is having Paul pieces right here where the 24th fret lives. So the 24th fret would be there. For me, I would rather have no fret there and have a pickup there, rather than have a fret there and have the pickup somewhere else. That is not to say that the SE CE24 is anything short of a stellar guitar. I may play it on the outro. I'm not sure it's in tune, but you know, maybe not, maybe not. But here's another cool question from Oscar Magnusson saying, have you tried the Spira S500? I really want it to buy it, but I can't find any reviews on it anywhere. By Spira S500, do you mean something like this? Spira S507? This guy. I've played the 7-string version. It's fabulous, right? Really great guitar. Now, what I will say is sometimes there are some strange anomalies with the way the bridge is set up on this guitar, because it has 2 sets of holes, and sometimes the saddles are in the wrong hole, for my money, and that's a dangerous place to be. But realistically, this guitar sounds fabulous, plays great. My friend Alan, who is my co-guitar player in Blitzkrieg, is now a Spira artist, and absolutely friggin' loves them, and I've played some of his Spira guitars. They are exceptional. For the money, absolutely unreal. If you're anywhere near Guitar Summit, Oscar, come play one, right? My friend Lee will be on the Spira booth. Come play them, they're great. So yes, I've played 500 series Spiras. I've played the 420s as well, which are also killer. Not much of a lock and trem guy, but they're a lot of fun. I like them a lot. So yes, that is, you'll like them, I think. It says the only issue he has with the 7-string is that they have 6-string pickups. I'm not sure what you mean by that, because this one has, I'm guessing what you mean is pickups that are designed for 6 strings, but then wound to be a 7-string thing. I don't think that's the case. And I'm going to prove it to you, because I'm going to play the 7-string. And I'll play the 7-string on some blues, because why on earth not? So we might as well finish out on this one. Shout out Lee Alexander, who let me hang on to this instrument after we reviewed it. It's cool. I like it. Sam Bell, by the way, also took a look at this and just absolutely ripped it to shreds. It's never been the same since. Let me just take a quick second to tune this. I think I'll play out on this one. But before we do, here's a quick question from where does the I'm not sure what this means. Where does the low sound from a unisolo bend come from that dives down? That's an interesting one. I think what you might mean there is pre-bends. A pre-bend where you bend the note before you play it. I'll get this guitar in tune and then I'll show you, because it's cold outside and this guitar is ready for its checkup. So let me really quickly get this in. I know we've gone over time, but I want to play this guitar because it's cool, and we're going to play blues on this guitar as well, because can you play blues in a 7-string? Too right you can. Okay, cool. So in response to Dreams' question, I think what you might be meaning is this. Where it sounds like the note is going, ow. What we're doing is we're bending the note before we play it. Let's have some vintage 30s for that, just to show you what it's doing. Love a bit of that, right? Very cool. So anyway, let me, we've got some clarification. I'll address that another time, but I'm going to play out on this one. Folks, thank you so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun. If you're coming to Guitar Summit, come and find me. Say hello, right? I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to play out on the Spira because, come on, it's great. Why not? A little bit of that. I'll see you guys next week. I may see you on the weekend. Come say hello, take pictures. I'd love to meet you. If you can't make it, don't worry, I'll be here next week. Don't forget to subscribe, hit all the appropriate YouTube buttons on the way out. Go to LickLibrary.com for lessons, GuitarInteractiveMagazine.com for news, reviews, all that good lifestyle stuff. And I'll see you guys next week. Here's a totally inappropriate guitar for the style we're about to play.